You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
What's out there? What creates the shadows in the corners or the creatures of the dark? Who are those on the other side? What do they have to say? This is the Gateway Podcast. This is not your normal style of paranormal talk radio. Brought to you live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans.
Gosh. Okay, here I am. Hello, Sebastian, Cindy, Heidi. Okay, you're at the, okay. Heidi's shopping, which is cool. At least she's listening. That's really good. Well, welcome to the Tuesday night edition of Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. And how is everybody doing today? Before I go on, I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi, or vice versa. However it goes, I do not know. I keep forgetting week by week by week. But I guess that's me, huh? And also, right after my show tonight, the Gateway Podcast with my dear friend C.L. Thomas. She's coming on right after me. So stick around and enjoy her podcast because it's an awesome podcast. And I don't know, it seems pretty interesting tonight. I do believe she's going to be talking about the occult. But before we get into the show, I just want to do a voice. I just want to express, your earbuds are in. That's cool, Heidi. How am I? I am not in a good mood tonight, girls, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not. My mom had an operation done today. It was supposed to be a biopsy. And after the biopsy was done, the doctor came to me and my brother and said, everything looked good. Everything looked good inside. So we get home, telling everybody, see, everything's good. Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate it. This doctor came out and, told me and my brother that it was perfect, nothing was wrong, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards. So I found out about 15 minutes ago, my mom read the discharge papers. Okay. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it. And she read it to us. And on the very bottom, it said that she has bladder cancer. And not once that doctor mentioned that she had it. And that doctor lied to me. He lied to my brother. And my mom always says, don't trust doctors. Well, I did. Until today. Because that doctor telling me one thing, and on the paper he's telling me another thing. And it's pretty terrible when somebody who's in the healthcare, who's out to help people, okay, tell you one thing, but actually tell you the bad. They tell you, yeah, everything's good, and actually it wasn't good. Hey, Squats, man, good to see you. So I'm mad. And if I don't, if I don't respond to your stuff in the chats, I'll just bring it up, put it like I did with Heidi's. Cindy, we're going to do that tomorrow. Okay, we're going to discuss. Yes, that's definitely going on tomorrow. But, it is unethical and it is a bunch of bullshit. Oh, Gary, we will. Honestly, we will. We'll get a second opinion. And it just blows my mind. It totally blows my mind. And I just don't understand how somebody is supposed to help you. And when they lie to you. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. Tom, that's true. It could have been, but I will hang in there. We'll find out more tomorrow. You've been missed off. Hey, Holly, good to see you. Well, Squatch, if you didn't miss it, real quick, my mom went in for an operation today, and I guess it was a biopsy or something like that. After the operation, the doctor came in and he told me and my brother to our faces that everything was okay. And then we read the discharge papers, and Pat, there's my brother. He'll tell you. And told me and my brother everything was okay. And then we read the discharge papers, and it said bladder cancer on it. So if I'm not in my happy, cheery situation today, but I'm going to try. Because there's nothing right now that I can do about it, except for pray about it. And I can't. I'm mad, but I can't let it take over my mind and stuff. Because I got a pretty dear friend. Dee says, wishing you had recorded that with audio to do that going forward. She'll have more visits coming up. Just saying, record when you ask that doctor to explain this to you. I will definitely do that, Dee. And hey, CL, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, good to see you. There's Miss CL Thomas. Her show's on next. Thank you, dear. Thank you for the prayers. Hey, John, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. I'm just not in the mood tonight, brother. It's all bad. I'll talk to you tomorrow or the next day. But that's my cousin John, Johnny Connell. I'm glad you said. So on with the show. So on the bottom of the show, on going across, you see it's open mic tonight. So I was talking with my dear friend today. She always has a way of cheering me up, and she asked me like what was going to be discussed on open mic. And I said whatever people want to talk about. Whatever. Whatever's on your mind, if you have a question, put it out there and then we'll talk about it. And we can discuss it. So she said, well, I have some questions. And I was like, oh, thank God she pulled through again. So during the show tonight, if there's anything that you want to talk about, thank you, John. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you, John. Hey, Steve, Mr. Wojo, the best Bigfoot hunter out there on the East Coast, him and Richie Beaton. Unfortunately, they like the New England Patriots, so we won't go there on this one. But this question tonight, she sent me some questions, and I think it's like really cool. So I'll read a couple of them, and I would like to hear your opinions on what my dear friend sent me, and they're pretty good. Here's one of them. Okay. What are your thoughts on cold spots? Is it possibly residual energy or energy there in present time? What is time? True. And smells, is that a clarity thing or residual or physically there? Well, personally, I think that cold spots are, there's a lot of way that you can explain a cold spot. For someone who doesn't really get into it, there could be just in that spot where there was a cold spot coming in from underneath the basement or, something like that. But in the paranormal field, whenever the temperature drops, okay, whenever the temperature drops, there is no doubt in my mind that there is a spirit there. Because what you need to do is, so you're in one part of the room and it's saying 65 degrees. And then all of a sudden, you just move over a little bit and it's like 48 degrees. And that, for me as investigating, I feel the cold spot, I have to have different types of things, like different types of equipment to back me up on what I see. But the cold spots, I believe, are actually spirits. Okay, Holly, do you think the president will make the big reveal about aliens tonight? You know what, Holly? I don't know. I don't know if he will or not. That'd be crazy if he did. I just don't know. Hey, Tim Vogel, Sebastian says, I will, buddy. I will. Would a phone, Heidi, I like the question. Heidi says, would a phone utility app have a temp reader on it? Yeah, it should. It should have one, definitely. But see, when it comes down to the maps, there's only one good app for paranormal. And that's the Necro one. And but when it comes to cold spots, absolutely. And then she also mentioned about seeing energy. Like, let me ask you guys a question. I'm glad she put that question to me. All right, and this is how I see them. I see it like auras, like a white aura. Like I'll be in a dark place, or I'll be somewhere, and all of a sudden, okay, if I fixate, right, I can actually see somebody a human form shaped into like an aura. Heidi says, I never thought of that to read the temp at that time. Thank you. Hey, Joe Fox, good to see you. Wow, I got a lot of good people in my chat room tonight. It is like so cool. So cool. My angels, I call them. You all are my angels. But looking at the energy, and it was like really confusing because when I really didn't understand what was happening, I really, honest to God, thought I was going crazy when I started to see these energies shaped as like a human being. It wasn't the full body; it was just the outline of a human. And I'm thinking, like, what the hell is this? It's like really baffling me. So, and then as the more investigations that I have done, right, and the more I did research, I have come up with the thing where I've come up with my conclusion that the energy, that white looking aura thing shaped as a human being, okay, is definitely a spirit. I have no doubt in my mind that it is definitely a spirit. So did anybody else have an experience like that? Where they're in a room and then all of a sudden you go to the other part of the room and it gets real cold. Christy Bailey, I sometimes see every sort of like heat vapor, transparent and vibrating. Yes, Chris. Hey, Jenny, how you doing? Good to see you, sweetie. See you Thursday night. Michelle, yes. CL says yes. This is like really cool. Well, what you're seeing, and this is my opinion and my opinion only, okay, that is a spirit. Definitely is a spirit. And it's really, really cool sometimes. Yeah, the energy, Christy, it's energy. And I remember one time, it was really cool. It was a Christmas Eve. It was about 7, 8 years ago. And here's the deal. Every Christmas Eve, I'd go visit my dad's grave, okay, and wish him a Merry Christmas. And so one time, I went up there on Christmas. It was nighttime because you know how dark it gets early here. I went up to see him, and I pull out my chair and I sit and I talk to him. And it was crazy. It was like 7 or 8 of them, along with my father, sitting in, I think my father was in it, but I saw 7 or 8 of these energy figures looking at me. And I just felt this real overcoming of peacefulness. It was like they were saying, like, Merry Christmas to me. Or just being there with me, because I was a little sad there that he wasn't, I get like that sometimes. Tom Baker says, I only use equipment to back my own feelings or experiences, and that's a good thing to do. A real good thing to do. A lot of people do it. I even do it. Or I'll be doing my thing, and somebody in my group or whoever's with me at that time, the first thing I tell them straight up, take pictures all around me. Take some pictures all around me. And they'll take 20 or 30 pictures all around me when I have that paranormal experience. And then we go back and we look at the pictures the next day on it. And usually we get something. Heidi says, I've seen that. Looks as though I'm looking through water or heat vapors in the shape. A couple nights ago, 7 foot tall, initially with a swirl of white smoke. That's crazy. A 7 foot vapor, dude. Oh my gosh. But what I'm impressed is with the swirl of white smoke. Is it possible, Heidi, that this thing could have been smoking a cigarette? Huh? Could it be smoking a cigarette or a cigar or smoking something? I don't know. But I have witnessed those. Okay, here we go. We got another question from my friend. She says, and Dee and everybody out there in the chat room, this is a good question. What are some techniques to strengthen my connection to my guides? I'll repeat that. Thank you, Joe Fox. Thank you for that compliment. I love it too. I'm glad you guys like it. She goes, what are some techniques to strengthen my connection to my guides? Does anybody want to care to share or have any ideas? Heidi says, we've had many words blinking and bigger ones. Oh my God, never thought of that. Yes, I've smelled sudden cigarette smoke. Nobody smokes in the house. CL says meditation. Okay, I do meditate to get a stronger connection with them. Patrick, my brother, says by putting a recorder outside during a very windy day or night. Michelle says meditation, sound vibrations, crystals. CL says intention, call on them. Christy says ritual baths, that is how and when I connect to my guides best. And these are all good ideas. And if it works for you, okay, when it works for you, oh, Cindy says buzz chanting. I've heard of that. That's a new thing coming out, from what I understand. And Michelle says prayers too. So those are all good, ways of connecting to your spirit guides. I personally like to meditate. I like to close my eyes and I talk to them. Or sometimes I get that little voice in the back of my head, and they say, "All right, Sean, close your eyes. It's time to go into meditation. We have some messages for you." But I had a real hard time at the beginning because I doubted myself. Was I actually talking to my spirit guide, or was this something inside my head that I was making up? But it took me a long time to trust my guides. And now, for me, now, and been doing it for a long time, I do trust them. I know they're there. I know who they are. And they keep me safe. Tom has a question. Do you believe in spirit boxes, or do you just hear what you want to expect? Do I believe in spirit boxes? I believe in them. For a long time, I was on the fence about it. But then, somebody explained to me how it worked. And I've actually done some investigations with just a spirit box, right? And we got a lot of good evidence on that. In fact, I'll tell you, we were at one place, and I was at a hotel, and we had the spirit box going, and it was 3 spirits talking to each other. It was 2 guys and a girl, and you could literally hear them having a conversation. It was crazy. If Val was here, she would tell you. But it was crazy because I think it was like one guy was jealous of another guy because this one guy, and this is true. This is not bullshit. This is true. One guy was dating the girl, and the other guy was jealous of that guy, and they were arguing on this thing. Oh my God! Wow, that was a long time ago. How many people here do sauna sessions? I've just started doing it for 20 minutes a session. I never heard of that. The sauna session. You know what? If it works, it works. If it gets you connected with your spirit guides, yes. Anything that you can do, anything that you feel safe, and if you're really just starting off into working with your spirit guides, find a very good teacher to help you out. Don't do it on your own. Find somebody that you trust that can help you with it. Cindy says some people journal or painting. Keller. Heidi says, I ask for syncretities too. I cannot pronounce that name. I'm from Pittsburgh, so I feel more love from my spiritual team than anyone in the physical. And that's true. But I tell you what, I do a lot of dumb things still. And then when I do some dumb things, my spirit guides do tell me I do dumb things. And, I get smacked upside the head for doing it. They keep me on my toes. CL says, yes, but you can project thoughts into them, I think. You can, CL. But if you just relax and open your mind, just okay, I'm here. What's the message? Heidi says, I don't know why, but I'm always using the spirit box outside. I've gotten some very relevant phases. I just usually listen. Tom Barker says, I have some good responses from spirit boxes, but always questioning responses. That's interesting, Tom. But with that thing coming back at you with the spirit box, right? with them asking you questions, I'd never experienced that before. Michelle says, I like the new SPI. It's an app, an iPhone, works great. Yeah, C.L. Thomas says, Baha, spirit world lessons. That's the truth. CL says, I use the SB7X and the newer one, Ghostbox. The apps, though, I think are Siri. The app tracks where you are and stuff. I don't know if I trust those apps. With me, I don't. A lot of them I don't trust. There are some pretty bad ones out there, but there's Heidi. What's the name of the one that you got that I told you about? I cannot pronounce it tonight. Heidi says, just got to share Pura Rosa, has amazing meditations on so many levels. Loves her. Okay. But when it comes to the ghost box, it's pretty interesting because, after a while, you just get tired of carrying around a camera and stuff like that. You just sit back, turn on the ghost box, and just wait for your answer. The Necro. Okay. Thank you, dear. This one was created by a paranormal researcher. Okay. And there's a lot of things coming out now with the paranormal, people coming up with these different types of things, different types of gadgets. But I really would like to ask you, do they really work? Do they? Those lights that you lay on the floor, you hang them up on the wall. And whenever supposedly a spirit hits it, it's like a K2 meter, they blink. I've seen them, I've worked with them, and they are good. But how good are they actually? How good are they? I don't know. The REM box, Heidi, that's hard. For all the times that I've had the REM box or I used the REM box, I really never got anything on it. I don't know if other paranormal investigators have or any other teams that use the REM box, but I never had luck with it. Never. Even though we knew that spirits they would not come over and touch it, Tom Barker says, I think you can create spirits from your own energy. You know what? You can, but they're not good spirits, Tom. They're not good spirits. See, okay, let me explain this. Say like you've been a negative person for a long time. And you're just releasing out a lot of anger, a lot of negative emotions and stuff like that. You just keep doing it and doing it over for a very long time. Okay, for a very long time. What happens? You're releasing your bad energy out into the universe. Okay, but it's like one big blob of darkness, sir, and pure negative surrounds you. It's like actually blocking the light out. And that's the truth. That does happen. Bill Rigby, hey, buddy, how are you? Heidi says that she would really love to do Estes. I have a hard problem with that. I watched a couple TV shows with it on, and the only way I'm going to actually believe that, okay, is they actually put a microphone inside the ears so everybody can hear if they're getting the responses that they're saying they are. Bill Berg says, hi, Sean, are you coming to the Penn, Ohio conference on the 29th? If I can make it, sir, I will be there. Absolutely. If I can make it. How you been? How's Bigfoot hunting coming along, Bill? And how you feeling, Bill? You doing okay? C.L. Thomas says, the REM pod thing. They go off if the temperature fluctuates and if you have a cell phone near it. True. Also, though, there's other ways you can manipulate it, and that's why I don't like them. I don't like them. That's the REM pods that she's talking about. She says, Heidi says, KB manifests from one emotions that over time can form its own conscience. I just seen a new one. This is Michelle, REM pod, EMF, and temperature. No, I agree too on everything hearing too. But seriously, you can just throw the REM pod out the door. And that's how I look at that. But we are at the 30-minute mark, everybody, and you know what that means. I'm glad you are here too, sir. I am really, really glad you're here. I'm glad you're doing okay. But we are at the 30-minute mark, and I'm going to take a little 70-second break, and I'll be back for the second part of the show. So don't go anyway.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
What's out there? What creates the shadows in the corners or the creatures of the dark? Who are those on the other side? What do they have to say? This is the Gateway Podcast. This is not your normal style of paranormal talk radio. Brought to you live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans.
When they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second part of Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi, or the other way around. I want you to know that Miss C.L. Thomas, who's in the chat room tonight, she has a show on next, and please follow her. Go to her show. Give her a bunch of love. And I'm telling you, her shows are great. They are awesome. So right after mine, I do believe hers start at 9:15 Eastern and 6:15 Pacific, 7:15 Central. Oh, I'm telling you, all these times. Okay. So we're coming up with some good questions that my dear friend sent me. I'm going to throw another one out there, if everybody's okay with that. Okay, how do you know if anything negative is attached? Let me repeat that, okay? How do you know if anything negative is attached to you? Thoughts on Ouija boards. I think if you expect a bad experience, you will have one. And this is my opinion on Ouija boards. I do not like them. Have I used them before? Yes. Okay. But not to see who my new boyfriend's going to be or girlfriend or anything like that. What causes a lot of problems with the Ouija board is that people just buy it off the shelf and they think it's a game because it's made by Parker Brothers. Hey, Marquetti, good to see you. And I think Parker Brothers, put that board out. But a lot of people, use it that don't know what they're doing, and a lot of people get burnt. they get burnt by it because, they're actually communicating in another realm, in which I tell you what, spirits are good liars. I don't know if anybody ever experienced it, and I think this goes along with the question. Um, bad spirits are very good manipulators. Um, demons, um, or I don't like the word demon because not everything out there that does bad things are demons. It's just like really, really nasty, disgusting spirits who are mean, nasty, and disgusting while they were alive. So when they died, their spirit never moved on. They're just being the same thing they are, and you got to you got to watch yourself, everybody. You really do. CL, Tim says nope. Tim Vogel, CL says, I have an old Ouija board from the 60s. It's powerful. I keep it in a glass case. Very good, C. Honestly, I wouldn't mess with it. Tricksters, Heidi says, energy vampires. But you know what? Let me tell you a story about this Ouija board. Okay, so I had a lady in my group, and she had one of those old-time Ouija boards. And she didn't want it no more. But this is how that I was taught to teach people how to things that are evil or bad items that cause a lot of problems. What you do is you find the oldest oak tree, find the oldest tree out there, okay, where you're at. You take that item, could be the board or whatever, and you put it in a box and you cover it with sea salt, lots of sea salt. And then you put the lid on and you tie it. Okay, so you dig a hole around that big tree. Okay, you dig a hole, and when you got the hole deep enough, you throw some sea salt on the bottom, and then on the bottom of it, and then you place the box. I'm telling you, you place the box on top of the sea salt, and then you put some more sea salt on top of the box, and you cover it up. And what the deal is that the energy from the tree, because trees have powerful energies in them, okay, kind of hold the spirit or the thing that is attached to the spirit, or whatever the spirit is attached to is there, and it's in that box. Well, back to my friend who was in my group, she buried the box. She had a big tree in her backyard. So one day, it was in October, and you know how leaves fall off the trees during October. This is a true story. Well, she sent me the picture the following day, and she said, would you look at this? And the leaves fell off the tree and onto the ground. But the hole that she buried for that box, right, there was not one leaf on there. And that's the truth. Not one leaf was on that thing. So me and my brother went over there. We went into the backyard and we kicked the leaves back onto the area. We kicked it back on, and covered up the top of the hole with leaves again. The very next morning, she sends me another picture, and there was no leaves on this hole. It was like square, plain, no leaves, but leaves around everything, or around the box. But here's the weirdest and cold. I think it's cold, but it really isn't. So we had a snow one time, and it snowed pretty good. And of course, she takes a picture and she sends it to me the next morning. Do you know that there was snow all around that hole? But not, where there was no snow was the place where she buried the board. No shit, it's true. It's true. Heidi says, I know my child fingers have been on a plaque, but don't remember anything about that one or two times. Okay. Tom says, most bad spirits try to disguise themselves or themselves as a child to lure you in. Yeah, that's true. And Tom is exactly right, because, and that's why if you want to use a Ouija board, do it with somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. okay, that knows how to know if there are bad spirits in the board, how to protect yourselves when using the board. Please don't just get the board, put it out on the table and play with it, because you're going to bring a lot of trouble to you. And that's the truth. If I could give you one piece of advice about that. And you know what? That's the same way about the pendulum too. Any communication that you have towards the spirits in the other realm, you know, anything that can communicate to them, anything can be brought into them. Bring them here into our world, and they attach themselves to you. And I've seen it happen. I don't know if anybody ever heard of automatic writing, where they go into a meditation or a trance play, and all of a sudden they start writing. That's a form of communication with the spirits. Now, I don't condemn them. I mean, if they know what they're doing and then they know how to handle themselves, more power to them. But if you just want to grab a piece of paper and a pen and you don't know what the hell you're doing, don't do it. Because you're going to get burnt. You're going to get burnt if you just take that Ouija board, that pendulum, even a tarot deck, the same way. You're going to get burnt, and then you're going to have to call a priest or whoever to help you get rid of it. And that's the truth. Tom says, Heidi says, I use sea salt in my homemade protection mix and so much more. Sea salt's the best way to protect yourself. Like I tell people, if somehow you feel you want to be more protected, get a little vial, okay? And pour sea salt into that vial. And you can either make a necklace out of it with the sea salt, okay? Or, keep that vial on your person and put it in the pocket, and it will protect you, definitely will protect you. Sea salt is powerful. I use it a lot. Tom Barker says, depending on how long it was buried, ground temp by digging a hole could change the ground. No, well, I understand where you're coming from, Tom, but no, this was crazy. It was crazy. Not one leaf. I have no doubt in my mind. I'll take that to my grave. It just was not good energy around that board where they dug it, and that's the truth. River says, good evening, Sean and everyone. Sorry I missed most of the show. Just updating family and friends on the fires here by me in San Antonio. Oh, my goodness, girl. Yeah, I read your post today. I'm praying for you. There's fires all around River where she lives at, so if everybody can send some prayers to her to keep her safe, I would truly, and her family, keep her safe, and her family safe. That would be great. So we got a couple more. I'm going to do one more question. Okay. This is a good one. And I'd like to hear what you people have to say. Do angels show in the physical as floating feather light orbs? Because maybe, for her, she's seeing these orbs, and they could be angels, bright light, feather light orbs. Are they attached? Tom Barker says, I have always used crystals, but not sure if they work. How do you? Okay, thank you, buddy. But let me ask you this. Okay, I'm glad you guys are okay down there, River. I hope everything's okay. I'm glad we are. You guys are. But how do you know an angel presents itself to you? Does it come into a nice light orb? Does it give you beautiful energy? You feel safe? Do you feel like feathers actually covering you up? How does an angel present itself to you? It would, to me, I just get that overwhelming of that I'm safe and that I'm doing okay. And sometimes there's a lot of angels around me. And sometimes, you see those little memes on Facebook or on TikTok saying, see a picture of an angel saying, smoking a cigarette and saying, this is what my guardian angel's thinking about me right now, but the head like this and smoking a cigarette. And sometimes I do believe that my angel does the same thing, you know. But these have been good. River says, I found a red-tailed hawk feather a day ago in the morning with my coffee where I sit outside on the deck, like just sitting in my spot. So maybe we are being protected. Michelle says it's a feeling you get along with the orbs. But you know what's crazy, River, about the, about that red-tailed hawk? My buddy the Crow was there this morning as we were taking my mom to the hospital, and he was just sitting there quacking away at me. He was the only one there quacking at me, and I said, "Well, good morning." My mom and brother thought I was crazy and nuts when I said good morning back to it, But I'm being watched by the crows and the ravens, and it just gives me a sense of peace feeling, when they are around. But I'd like to pull out one more question that my friend sent me today. This has been a good show so today. Let's see. Enclosing a spirit within a circle or enclosing yourself in a circle for protection measures. Does that, I mean, if you know you are being haunted and there is a bad spirit in your house, do you put a ring of sea salt around you and do you stand in the middle of that ring? I mean, this is a very good question. This is a very good question. Do you put sea salt around you and you stand in that circle? Some people do, some people don't. But let me go another way. If you feel that your house is being infested by a lot of spirits, negative spirits, find somebody to come in and clear those spirits out. Don't do it on your own. Just find somebody to help you clear those spirits out. And when they're all cleared out, and I'm not bullshitting you guys at all, I'm being honest with you. Buy 2, maybe 5 pounds, 6 pounds of sea salt and actually put it around your house. Put it around your house. Put it on your windowsills. Put it around your bed. But get a lot of sea salt, especially if they're out of the house. Put the circle of sea salt around the house. And then, depends on the weather or whatever, if it washes away, go back and put more sea salt in there. And I've seen people do it, and it definitely works. It definitely works. Heidi says, I love my daily chit chats with the ravens, hawks, owls, blue jays, finches, and chickadees. I do that in the summertime, Heidi. In the morning doves, you got to give them some love too. I give my mourning doves a lot of love, even though they make a lot of noise. River Rose says, absolutely yes, Sean. I feel protected by my hawk friend. He loves the tree in my yard. Can you, Joe, how can you say that? Heidi says, plan on cleaning tonight. Yes, I put my salt mixture around the perimeter of the house and doorways, inside and outside also. It does work. It does work. Joe Fox, God bless you, man. God bless you. He says, can I put it around my ex-wife? Oh, man, that's terrible, dude. That's terrible. But I want to thank everybody for a good show tonight. Thank you for coming in. Next Sunday night, and I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I'm going to have a very, very special guest next Sunday. And I'm not going to tell you. You're just going to have to be here to see it. Okay? You're going to have to be here to see it. And I'm going to be helping out my friend Jenny on her show, and which will be Thursday. Oh, you're welcome, Joe. Thank you. I'm going to help my friend Jenny, and for a while until Tom comes back. But I don't know. It was a great show. I feel a lot better than I did at the beginning. And I want to thank everybody for their prayers. And I want to thank everybody for their suggestions. Children, if you can, please go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. Okay? And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you have no parents and if you have no children, find somebody and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And on that note, good night, everybody. Thank you for listening. And don't forget, I got that guest coming up on Sunday, the Sunday coming up. And you're not going to want to miss the show. And on that note, thank you. Good night. Happy hunting. Sleep dreams.